One evening, Gregor found his little brother playing with a toy by the fire. Gregor's toy. A wooden knight. Gregor never said a word. He just grabbed his brother by the scruff of his neck and shoved his face into the burning coals. Held him there, while the boy screamed, while his face melted.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones Season 8 prediction video. In today's video, I want to talk about that great scene we got between the Hound and his brother the Mountain during the meeting at the Dragon Pit in the Season 7 finale. This was one of the most anticipated moments in the last few seasons, and although we did not get Cleganebowl, I still think this scene was satisfying in another way. I know I can't speak for everyone, but personally I have been waiting for this day to come for quite some time, pretty much since the first season. At least that was when we got our first taste of how good the Cleganebowl could be. When you learn what the Mountain did to his brother, you can't help but hope the Hound gets some form of payback eventually. It's bad enough that the Mountain stuck his face into a fire when he was a little boy, but that isn't all the Mountain has done. The Hound's hatred for his brother runs so much deeper than only that. There are some things you can learn about the Mountain in the books that just go to show you how violent this man actually is. Everyone should already know what he did to Elia Martell and her children, which is why Oberyn Martell was so angry with him, but let me read to you this one chapter from the books. I think you will find this just as interesting as I did. It's pretty damn creepy, and it further shows what the Hound had to deal with when growing up with him as a brother. This was actually in one of Ned Stark's chapters in the first book, and at the time he is thinking about the Mountain and some of the stories he has heard about him. Ned seldom put much stock into gossip, but the things said of Sir Gregor were more than ominous. The Mountain was soon to be married for the third time, and one heard dark whisperings about the deaths of his first two wives. It was said that his keep was a grim place where servants disappeared unaccountably, and even the dogs were afraid to enter the hall. And there had been a sister who died young under queer circumstances, and the fire that had disfigured his brother the Hound, and the hunting accident that had killed their father. Gregor Clegane had inherited the keep, the gold, and the family estates. His younger brother Sandor had left the same day to take service with the Lannisters as a sworn sword, and it was said that he had never returned, not even to visit. I remember when I first read that chapter, I was like, holy shit. I knew the Mountain was crazy when he stuck his brother's face into the fire, but he is a complete psychopath. It basically implies that the Mountain murdered his first two wives, then he murdered their younger sister and their father during a hunting trip. And the damn servants at their keep are constantly going missing. He pretty much murders everyone he comes into contact with, including all of his family members and wives. Even the damn dogs are afraid of the Mountain, and the dogs are actually the sigil of his house. That's how crazy the Mountain is, and this just goes to show you why the Hound has so much hatred for his brother. So when the Hound confronted his brother at the Dragon Pit, I was very excited, but I was also intrigued because the Hound said something very interesting to his brother. Something I have been trying to decipher, but I'm not sure if I'm any closer to solving this than when I first heard it. But let's take a look at the scene, then try to take a guess at what he actually meant.
Remember me? Yeah, you do. You're even fucking uglier than I am now. What did they do to you? Doesn't matter. That's not how it ends for you, brother. You know who's coming for you. You've always known.
Alright, now let's take a closer look at this. The Hound asks his brother, what did they do to you? Then he says, it doesn't matter. It's not how it ends for you, brother. You know who's coming for you. You've always known. Clearly, the Hound knows something that we don't, but the question is, what does he know, and who is he referring to when he says, you know who's coming for you? I think the most obvious answer is the Hound was referring to himself. The Hound has more than enough reasons to kill the Mountain himself, and if I had to pick anyone to do the job, I would pick the Hound because that would be the most satisfying. What Gregor did to the Hound has traumatized him his entire life, and it has had such a long-lasting effect on him, it has even caused other people to be hurt and even killed. The best example of this was when the Hound went beyond the wall with Jon and company. When they were attacked by the white polar bear, the Hound completely froze up when the bear was on fire, and this was when Thoros stepped in to protect the Hound, which ultimately led to Thoros dying. The Hound may never totally get over his fear of fire, but if he were to kill his brother, I think it would certainly help heal some of those wounds. I would like to think the Hound has threatened to kill him at some point after he was burned. After the Mountain put his face in the fire, the Hound may have told him that one day he would kill him for that, which would explain why the Hound told him he has always known who would come for him and kill him one day. That makes the most sense to me, but the way the Hound said that during this scene, it almost seemed like the Hound was referring to something else or someone else. But then you have to ask yourself, who else could the Hound mean? How would he know for a fact that someone else will kill the Mountain? And how would the Hound know that his brother knew this day would come too? Is it possible that the Hound may have seen or heard something else in the flames? There are at least 2 different times the Hound could have possibly seen or heard something in the flames that we know of. It could be similar to how Varys heard something in the flames. When Varys was just a boy, he had something very traumatic happen to him too. And that was of course when the sorcerer cut off Varys' genitals and threw them in the fire. When this happened, Varys heard something in the flames, something that has haunted him his entire life. Maybe something similar happened to the Hound when his brother put his face into the fire. The Hound was also a young boy when this happened, and it was also very traumatic for him, just like it was for Varys. With that in mind, do you think the Hound could have heard something in the flames, something referring to his brother being killed? We know for a fact that the Hound saw something in the flames when he was with Thoros of Myr and Beric Dondarrion. During that scene, the Hound only mentioned seeing the army of the dead moving to Eastwatch by the sea, but there is a chance he saw more than that. And it could have something to do with his brother. This is probably a stretch though. I don't really see how the Mountain would know the Night King was coming for him too. The Hound did tell his brother he knew who was coming for him, so I don't know how the Mountain would know the Night King or the army of the dead would be coming for him. Unless it had something to do with the Mountain being undead. The Mountain is technically a white, just a different kind of white, but I do wonder if the Night King could take control of the Mountain if he tried. The Mountain doesn't seem to have the same kind of free will that Jon Snow and Beric Dondarrion have. All 3 of them have been brought back from the dead, but the Mountain is the only one who acts like a zombie-esque white. As far as we know, the Mountain doesn't even speak anymore, which makes him more of a white than anyone else who has been living south of the Wall. There is another person the Hound could have been referring to when he confronted his brother. He could have been talking about Arya Stark. Everyone knows Arya Stark has wanted the Mountain dead for a very long time. Arya has been scratching names off of her hit list, and the Mountain was still on there the last time she recited those names. When Arya was at the House of Black and White in Season 6, she said the names on her list, and she only named 3 people.
Who else was on Arya Stark's funny little list?
Cersei Lannister. Gregor Clegane. Walder Frey.
Arya already removed Walder Frey from the game, but she could take Cersei and the Mountain out at almost the same time if given the right opportunity. The Hound is also well aware of Arya's list. When the Hound and Arya were traveling together, he heard Arya recite all of the names on her list, so he knows Arya wants to kill the Mountain.
Tywin Lannister. The Red Woman. Beric Dondarrion. Thoros of Myr. Ilyn Payne. The Mountain.
Would you shut up?
I can't sleep until I say the names.
The names of every fucking person in Westeros.
Only the ones I'm going to kill.
Hate's as good a thing as any to keep a person going. Better than most. We come across my brother. Maybe we can both cross a name off a list.
Arya has always been a top candidate to kill the Mountain, but the only problem I have with this is the Mountain does not know Arya wants to kill him. The Hound told his brother he knew who was coming for him, so I'm not really sure how the Mountain would know Arya is coming. Unless someone told him, but I don't remember ever seeing that scene. I think there is a slight chance the Hound may have been talking about Arya, and there might be a slight chance the Hound saw or heard something in the flames. But I think the safest bet is the Hound being the one to actually kill his brother himself. I know some people are tired of hearing about Cleganebowl because it's been hyped up for so many seasons now, but I do think the Hound was referring to himself when he told his brother he knew who was coming. Don't get me wrong though, it would be very interesting if he meant Arya or the Night King. I just don't know how the Mountain would know this. But if you have a different theory, please put it down below because I would love to hear it. I know some people have been thinking the Hound meant Arya Stark or the Night King, so I figured I would address this a little bit in the video. But personally, I am still on board the hype train for Cleganebowl, so let me know if you are too.
Leave him be! Stop this madness in the name of your...
Either way, I want to thank all of you for watching the video. I appreciate that as always. I also want to thank all of you who continue to support the channel on Patreon. It does mean a lot to me. I hope you all have a great day. I will see you in the next one. Bye.